There you go. Ish. How's any good, buddy?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Good to get back in game week. I thought you're coming off the bye. Had some good competitive practices. As we talked last Wednesday, it was good to get on the road. Get out recruiting there this past weekend for the coaches. To get you within the state, and obviously out to see a lot of top targets. Coming off this weekend, got back yesterday. He was able to get out and get back on the practice field. Obviously, Wake playing this Saturday gave us another game to evaluate, and obviously they're coming off a big win. In a very tight contest against a good SMU team. So. As we go into this week, it's about our football team continuing to come together, continuing to rise up, and obviously to go put our best game out there on the field come Saturday night. And we'd like to recognize the Seminole Heritage Game. This is a great game for us, and just to celebrate just the partnership with the Seminole Tribe of Florida. And just what that relationship means to us and this university, and to be able to bring awareness to that through this game, and then also with this week being homecoming, it's a great opportunity for all Seminoles, past, present, to be able to celebrate the great things of all things with this university, and having people back on campus. You excited for the night kick, and obviously the opportunity ahead for this football team.
I'll start with Ira.
With all the games being one-score games, they've all been close. But during the bye week, do you take a time to look at things you could be doing differently, or is it more just trying to do better what you do already?
No, I mean you go back and you reflect in all situations. There are different things. Schematically that we can do, making sure that we're putting our players in the best situation, offensively, defensively, special teams. When you come up short in 4 games that are one-score games, there's a lot to be able to digest. You try to do that throughout the course of the season after every matchup, but obviously we need the it's all about the result. And when you find yourself in in a negative stretch where you haven't been able to overcome you go and you look at it collectively, big picture, and then you try to break it down into each phase positionally, personnel wise, and there's different dynamics of things that have that have showed up that have cost us, and we've talked throughout the previous weeks of the importance of owning the ball, creating takeaways, being able to do things that hurt us through that middle stretch. Obviously we were able to do a better job of owning the ball there in our last game. Unfortunately there were some other areas that showed up that kept us from putting points on the board like we've been accustomed to. We had a lapse with just too many penalties, some unforced errors in this previous game, and so there's for us this week, and my challenge to coaches, players, and everybody involved, man, we got to go out there, we got to do our job. Coaches got to do. You have to do a great job of putting together a wonderful plan against a well-coached football team, one that has ability and is playing with a lot of confidence, and we've got to put our players in the best position to go make plays, and then our players got to trust and believe in the technique, the fundamentals, and obviously their skill set of what they're going to bring to this game. And in all reality, I don't need our players to go do anything exceptional. I just need them to come out and to be able to put forth their best effort. And I do believe exceptional things can happen. And so, that's where it's just this simplistic focus of doing our job. Everybody a part of the program, and go out there and have fun playing and coaching this game.
Come over here for Liam.
Coach, with Tommy, we see he's listed on the depth chart as a starter, but how is he health-wise? Obviously, leaving the game against Stanford, had a bye week. I think us had to heal up. Do you expect any challenges with him this week?
No, I mean we'll see how everything plays out this week, and just big picture approach with all the guys that have dealt with injuries. I mean, we will have availability report here towards the end of the week, but coming off the bye, that did Tommy probably probably would not have been able to play if we had to play last week. But saw some real progress towards the end of the week off, and we were trying to be real careful with them, just as we went about it. But it was good to see the guys practice. He was able to get some work towards the end of the week, and excited about what's ahead for this week. But we'll have to take it day by day as this week unfolds.
Brendan?
One more thing on injuries. Javon Boggs wasn't listed on the depth chart. I know he was out, came back, returned. Is that something that?
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, he'll be a guy that will be out this week. We going into this week, we have he's kind of had an up down last few weeks. We were hopeful that we were kind of over the hump with it, but you had a little setback, and we'll see how he progresses, and we're going to push this week to work and get ready. Just you don't see that in the timeline of his availability, so he's one that pretty certain will be out this week.
Ira?
When you look at Wake Forest, they statistically they don't look to be outstanding necessarily in any area, but they find a way to just be in these games and they pull out some of these wins. When you watch Wake Forest, what do you see?
I mean, it's a team that plays extremely hard. I mean, I think defensively they're towards the top of our league. Defensively in a lot of statistical categories, but you see a defense that's really playing at a high level. They are confident in what they're asked to do. Obviously, new coordinator, new staff there, so they're growing each and every week. I thought they did an outstanding job this past weekend. Against SMU and really made things difficult for them in all ways. But this is a team that they've got talented players. They've got guys that you look at their front. They're going to show you 3 down, 4 down. They're going to be aggressive in their movements. And it's going to be a team that they're going to play sideline to sideline. They play fast. Like I said, they're a high energy group, and they can present some different schematic challenges with talented players. Offensively, they've kind of gone through some of the ups and downs throughout the course of the year. I know that right now they've dealt with some quarterback injuries that have showed up, but I think both the quarterbacks have shown the ability to play at a high level. They got some really good skill players. The Barnes kid at receiver I think is extremely talented. He's explosive. You got to always know where he's at. Obviously, Claiborne is one of the best running backs in our league, and I think it'll be a guy that will be a pretty high draft pick. You'll hear this. This next spring, but I mean, this is a team that can present challenges. Obviously, you see that they found a way, in a lot of contests, and in all reality, they got screwed out of the Georgia Tech win, just at the end of it. But I mean, this is a team that can compete with anybody in our league, and we're gonna have to play our best game, as we go into this week.
All right, stay there for Corey.
When you go on the road, recruiting, what is the message what questions are you getting from coaches and players and parents when you meet up with them or talk to them?
Yeah, so
What's
I mean,
the message you're giving
yeah,
them?
this past week, it's evaluation period, so there's not a whole lot of sitting, of that other than with coaches. And so, coaches, they live it, they watch it, they understand, you see, it still comes down to the result, but you see the style of play, you see, it's all about the individual players and how these guys will be able to transition in to be able to make an impact, to be able to fulfill what they want from their collegiate experience. And we've got great relationships, and I believe you've done a good job of building that. But also you see great opportunity. You see a bunch of double-digit true freshmen that have come in and played, have the ability to play, and have been playing at a high level. You see an offense that's one of the best in the country, and what we've been able to do with explosive plays, and obviously gaining a lot of yards, scoring points. Defensively, you see the opportunity to be able to go and attack, and some of the things that we've been able to accomplish, creating takeaways and explosive plays, and the opportunities to be able to impact quarterbacks. So, guys, they're looking at what is there in place, for me, how can I be put in position, and then they've got to visualize themselves with the opportunity to impact. And coaches, they see that, and it's we played in a lot of close games that we've got to go take that step and finish for the result that we desire. But for these or recruits that when they're looking at, hey, where do I want to be? Who do I want to be with? What do I want to, what do I want to be a part of? I mean, there's a lot of confidence in what that is, and really for them, it's just being able to stay focused on that. Because everybody, when the team experiences losses, I mean, we lose a game, and the first question, well, are you still going to be, are you still considering them? Are you still with them or whatever? And then you stack that upon to going through a negative streak. I mean, obviously there's going to be a lot of the questions, but it still comes down to the fit. It still comes down to where these guys see themselves in the best situation, the best place. And there's a lot of excitement for the opportunity that's ahead and what they can be within this program.
Go back to Brendan.
I know we've asked you before about how players deal with current players deal with outside noise, distractions, and this past week was obviously louder than most. How did they do handling that? How did you address it? Was it any different than usual, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, you have to address it as a coach, because when you see, there's times that, we talked about it, after the Pitt game. I know it was one that you saw some guys with a little bit of hesitation and some unnecessary situation when the play's there. Just trust that you're going to go, go make the play rather than try not to miss it. This last week, I did think there were some times that we were trying to almost do too much in certain situations, and that's from inside as a player, just trying to go, do all that you can to make the play, to try to help get over the hump of when you feel that, whether it's within, whether it's from the outside, when you just you want it so bad, you got to stay true and trust trust who you are, trust what you're being asked to do, and then just go out there and execute and have fun. But yeah, you talk about it as a coach. Anytime there's a lot of opinions, which there's always going to be, whether it's sometimes opinions within your group, sometimes opinion from the outside, sometimes from friends, family, and loved ones, and then sometimes opinions from anybody that can get to you. So you do talk about it, and it's just like I said at the beginning, it's about doing your job. It's about showing up and putting everything that you have, regardless of the sometimes the chaos that can go on around you in the course of a game. Sometimes, in living life with whatever circumstance might show up. I mean, it's about showing up and giving all that you have with a detailed approach of going in and executing whatever the responsibility or task that you have in front of you.
Go back over to Ira.
In that last game against Stanford, there were a couple instances on the sideline with just guys getting frustrated and emotional, which is, I'm sure, understandable given the circumstances. Do you go back and revisit that with those guys individually, like in the days following, or?
Oh, absolutely, and sometimes it's days following, sometimes it's immediately after a game, whether it's and that's this is an emotional game, and you want great emotion, but you want to be in control of your emotion, and that's all part of it as players, coaches, everybody involved. And there's certain things that where the awareness of every action, and how important the details, the focus, being able to execute in the moment. I mean, that's gonna magnify that needs to be magnified through the course of the game, because ultimately it's still about what you do with it. It could be the first quarter, it could be the fourth quarter. I mean, you have to be on point, because every play is going to matter. And you can sit back over the last 4 weeks and pick any one of 100 plays, and you're going to find a different result to probably the overall outcome of what that contest was. And you got to control what you can control. And we've also seen, and of course, in 4 weeks, there's plenty of things we can't control that can go for you or go against you. And but if as long as we can stay locked in on that, you can't allow in a situation where there was a very questionable call, and in a situation, a player's emotions to what that call was, really affected the next play. And that's where it's just like, man, you gotta, you're not going to get every call. There's going to be some good ones. There's going to be some bad ones. There's going to be some good plays and bad plays that you experience. But you got to make sure that you can refocus, lock in, be able to make any adjustment that's necessary, and then go and be your best for that next snap and that next play. And so that's one of the reasons why you see the emotions of what they are. Sometimes from coaches to players, sometimes coaches to coaches. Just the awareness that, man, this has to be fixed. This has to be dealt with in the moment. And then you follow up with that, obviously after the game, you follow up that and remind that throughout the course of the week, throughout the course of the season. There's been, plenty of players that I've coached over the years that might have started their career a certain way and how they reacted to circumstances. And as you continue to point that out, as you continue to give them ownership of and confidence of what they can do in those situations, you see that growth and you see that that carry on. And I've got a lot of the guys. Saw Renardo Green when we were out in California. Jaron Jones came back last week, and to see the confidence of what they speak of how they can handle situations that are showing up in the next level through their time here. And both those guys had the ups and downs, and throughout their Florida State careers, and dealt with a lot of pressure, noise outside. They can do this, they can't do this, and they both became great players here, and now are your guys that are playing a lot, starting there at the next level, and how they some of those lessons that they had to get harped on during their time here is now a real asset for them here later in their career.
It's kind of a follow-up to that. As is knowing like how important eye contact is to you when you're coaching your players and talking to them. At halftime, at the Stanford game, it didn't look like guys were fully listening to what you're saying before going into the locker room. Do you notice that at all? Is that a concern at all? Is that something that ends up being addressed?
Oh, I mean, I address all of it, and there's times that it's still, even in that moment, it's a why. Why do those things show up? Well, you're disappointed, or this, or I've got the whatever the feelings are, and if you can allow yourself to be distracted, or you can you make the choice to lock in on it, and that's why I always like seeing that eye contact. And there's plenty of games throughout our career, or throughout my career, that I've seen where guys have done a good job, and really it's awareness to me where the follow-up needs to go. And so that's all part of a process of what I do to make sure that there is the connection, and it's what I like is the follow-up afterwards and the ownership of afterwards of you can point to, hey, it might not have been exactly what you wanted, or this is not where you wanted to be with you at that point. But if you allow yourself to stay removed, or to stay frustrated in feelings or whatever that might be, well, you might miss the next handful of plays, or that could continue to cost you or continue to keep you from where you are. And then you see the positive results from it too, when guys can flush everything else that's on the outside and stay focused on the task at hand, and that you can overcome even a bad momentum, or something that's not going the way that you want it to go. So.
We always ask in camp about like leadership and guys evolving as leaders in difficult times, or have you seen any signs of guys who are trying to keep guys headed in the right direction?
Yeah, I know you talked about that last week, and there was we've had a lot of guys that have taken a great deal of ownership, and just where we are, what some of the good and the bad, and then it's about trying to go and push and to make the difference through your work, through you pour into others, you try to be the example, you try to encourage guys that might be at different places with where they are in performance or feelings, or just overall emotions, and that's what I'm looking for from leaders, guys that are willing to be the example, guys that are willing to step up and go and challenge themselves to another level, but also continue to push to uphold the standard of how we operate, what we do, whether it's within the meetings, whether it's out on the practice field, whether it's within the community, and the work that's being done there. I mean, it's all about giving of self giving of yourself by being available to be the example, as a leader within a team. Anybody can get up and say, hey, this is what we need to do, and this is what it looks like. But if you're not doing it, if you're not willing to actually go and put that on display, then you're not a leader. So nobody's going to actually listen to you anyways. So it's still like that's what I'm watching for, and that's what I've been really pleased. Even through the course of this last week, seeing guys truly take ownership, but also bringing that to the areas that it has to show up, bringing it to the practice field, bringing it within our locker room and within our facility on a daily basis, just trying to push this program and try to push themselves to go be better.
Corey?
Big picture for you here. I think you would agree that it's never been harder to win in college football, period. Just, it's really hard from week to week to win. Athletic departments have never been more impatient, it would seem, and it happened last night in Baton Rouge. I just wanted your overall opinions on the coaching profession in college football in 2025.
I mean, I think, you know, being a coach is one of the most gratifying and rewarding professions you can be in, because you get a chance to impact, you know, if you're a college coach, 18 to 22 year olds, in high school, you know, I was talking to some high school coaches last week. I mean, you got, 14 to 18 year olds, and, you know, it is a different age. And, you know, you look at, even high school, in the high school world with, high school NIL, players leaving and going to new schools and transferring mid-season, you see it. I mean, it's, there's so much, just unrest within the game, I would say, because of some of the dynamics of what we're living in. But it is important that, as a coach, that you are willing to take hold of all the things that you can control in it, and then to show the character, show the identity, to push forward, and to be able to block out, because you can go look at different circumstances of what happened at different places, and that's fine. But man, we're blessed to be able to do what we do, and I've been fortunate. This is my 10th year of being a head coach. Been able to see a lot, and I've seen some really good days. I've seen some extremely tough moments. And every day when you show up, I tell our players this all the time: we're not guaranteed anything. We've had players that have had extreme tragedies within their own lives, and whether it's injury, whether it's a tragedy on the outside that keeps them from the opportunity to continue to play football. Whether it's a game, whether it's a season, whether it's a career, whatever that might be, you're blessed to be in the moment, and so you have to stay in the moment. And for all things that, when it comes to college football, I mean, it's a wonderful game. It's a wonderful sport. Obviously, we represent, a great institution, and the pride and the passion of college football is at an all-time high. And so there are a lot of emotions that go into it, because it's a results-based business. And I mean, we all understand that. We all, it's like you hear every coach, "Well, we signed up for it." Well, I mean, it's still, you get to go live it. You get to go live it. And with all the passion, all the emotion, it's still, it's what you're willing to do on a daily basis, as a leader, and what you're willing to do as a coach, and trying to inspire guys just to go be better and to put all that they have on display. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a different time, and it's a different game than what it was 5 years ago. And I mean, all the players, coaches, and everybody involved. I mean, this is it's a great challenge, but man, it's so rewarding to be able to help guys, on this journey to go, form and develop who they are as men, and to be able to make a difference to those that are around you.
Bob?
Coach, new football building's open. You guys have moved in. What's been the response from players as far as what it's like for them day to day, and how can it be maybe more efficient as far as their day to day?
No, yeah, I mean, it's been incredible. I mean, it's a state-of-the-art facility. Obviously, there's, I think it's one of the best in the United States of America, and it's been it's been something that's been on discussion for 6 years since I've been here, and we're 1 week into it, and the amount of gratitude that I have, and I mean, there's been a lot of sacrifice, from people that have invested to make this a reality. There's been a lot of the sacrifice within our program to, just with what we've had to do, operationally to make it happen. And now that we're finally in there, I mean, to see the gratitude of our players, that's one of the things. Even as we went in, last week, you talked about the leadership of just showing up every day and representing those that made this happen. And that's been something that has been hit on from guys in that locker room, of how we respect it through the work, how we respect it through how we take care of it. There's a great deal of pride of being a Florida State Seminole, and I mean, that's a state-of-the-art, first-class facility that this program deserves. And this program deserves it because of all those that have come before them, and ultimately each individual. We've got to earn that on a daily basis by what we're willing to give, and who we're pushing and aspiring to be.
All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you guys. Have a great